This is Kim Meyer, host of Choose to Rise. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Hey, you're listening to Let's Hustle with Lee and Chelsea. We are two girls making our way in sales and entrepreneurship.
We set out to make this podcast after entering our late 20s and realizing we were hitting a wall and felt like our lives and careers were stagnant. After expressing this feeling to countless other women, we realized we weren't alone.
So each week we're bringing you real conversations with real people that are authentic, realistic, and relatable in hopes that you can grow into the best version of yourself. So strap in and let's hustle. Hey everybody! I'm sorry, it just has to be said like that.
Every time we do a sound check and Chelsea's like, I'm going to talk like this. And then immediately it's like, hey!
Welcome to another episode of Let's Hustle podcast. This is Chelsea.
This is Lee.
And we have a familiar face. A great face. A wonderful face. One of our dearest friend faces.
The best bone structure I've ever seen.
Nose
on a
job,
face.
she didn't get one. Her nose just came out perfect.
Skin, flawless.
Hair, people dye it to get that color.
Absolutely.
She just wakes up.
Yes.
Without further ado, we'd like to reintroduce to you our guests.
Oh, am I going to say your name?
Yeah.
Oh, hi. It's Kayleigh. Wait, are you going by Kayleigh Irene now with your hair, or do you care?
I don't. Kayleigh.
It's just Kayleigh.
Just Jan.
Just Jan. Yeah, our good friend Kayleigh is here with us today. The hair guru, specialist, business bitch.
Yes.
That's me.
Welcome. Well, we wanted to bring Kayleigh on today because Kayleigh's about to open her first hair salon, hair parlor, if you will.
Oh.
And she's been building it the entire time the pandemic is going on. Because right now, if you're listening, it's January 2021, and this shiz is about to open.
Yes.
And so we thought it was really important to bring someone on here who is literally going through it and has been through the beginnings of a business, and just talk about, you know, what she did right, what she would absolutely do again if she had to do it all over, what she would not do again, you know, what her priorities were, what they prioritized spending money on, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So we thought that would be a wonderful thing to talk about, and for Kayleigh to talk about her new salon, which is going to be freaking awesome and tight. But before we get to that, we'll start with Chelsea. Chelsea, how's your week been? How's your first week of 2021 been?
My first week of 2021 has treated me well.
Good.
I'm very happy about it.
That's awesome.
I've been feeling some big energy.
Some big energy.
Yeah. I mean, my horoscope did tell me that I would be feeling big energy.
Ooh.
So.
Okay.
It's there. Also, my app Flow told me my estrogen levels would make me feel powerful, and Flow did not disappoint.
Oh.
So there's that.
Okay.
What else? Business has been good. I had a bunch of people call me back, which was really exciting. So
That's
first
awesome.
week business-wise of fiscal year 2021, been very pleased.
Good.
So
Good.
Nothing bad to report.
That's great.
I just have been saying happy first Monday of 2021, happy first Tuesday of 2021, and so on and so forth.
Good. I like that energy.
Thank
and I'm
you.
glad that that's the energy you've been coming into this year with.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What about you?
You know, it's been all right. I purposefully tried to not hype myself up for 2021 because I hyped myself up for 2020. And look where that got us.
The numbers themselves just seemed so cool.
I know. I was so excited. Oh my gosh, I just hit this mic. I'm sorry.
She's that excited.
Yeah. But you know, I'm trying to, you know, be healthier. I've got more of a routine going now, which I feel like I didn't for the last month of December, because I feel like December is just like the F it month.
Literally.
Where I just am like, who cares? January is around the corner.
Cake.
I don't care. I'll drink a bottle of wine and I'll eat ice cream tonight.
Why
And
not?
I'm not working out in the morning.
I feel like that would make you kind of sick.
Yeah.
Not in the moment.
In the moment, it's great. And then the next day, you're like, why did I do that?
Hmm.
I can't do that like I used to.
Yeah.
I think now in your 30s, you're either hot or you have no stomach problems.
TikTok reference. I knew I heard that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like the motto. I heard that and I was like, oh my God, that's the secret.
Yeah.
If you're ugly, you have no stomach problems. If you're hot, you have the GERD. I know you do.
The GERD.
You have the GERD, or you're lactose intolerant. Something is going on in your intestines. You have to drink kombucha once a week.
At least.
If you're hot.
At least.
So I'm trying to, be mindful of my ever growing stomach sensitivities in 2021.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Kayleigh, how's your first week of this year been?
It is my first unemployed week.
Ooh.
Ever.
Oh my
Ever
gosh.
since I was 15.
That's kind of huge.
It is. I'm not technically unemployed because I'm building out the space, but it is weird. I'm not working for the first time ever in my adult life. I mean, I'm working. It's a weird conundrum.
thing.
I'm not taking clients.
Yeah.
I'm out of the salon.
You're different work.
Yeah.
That you're not making money yet. You're just spending money.
I'm bleeding financially.
Just spending it as I make
money every time I turn around is coming out of my pocket.
Everywhere.
How does that make you feel, like, mentally? Like, are you stressed out because you're not working, or are you trying to, like, step back, relax, regroup?
Because for you who don't know Kayleigh's like, I am going to paint a portrait while dyeing someone's hair and upping someone's extensions, and I'm doing my dishes, and I'm training my dog a new trick.
I always complain that I think I'm lazy, and Brandon, my fiance, for those of you not in the room, he is always like, you are the least lazy person I've ever known. You are constantly busy.
Yes.
And it's true. My days off, I joke, I started riding horses this year, and that is the only time that is just for me. It is the only time I'm doing something that is just mine. Other than that, I'm cleaning the house or doing whatever. And now with this added layer of building out the salon, it is a whole nother level of chaos that part of me, I think, becomes even more manic, which me not working is not helping because I am not physically able to swing the hammer and do what I need to do without getting in the way of the people that are working on the salon space itself. So yesterday I was very proud. I painted the bathroom at the salon. I told the company that's building it out, Rockerbilt, that's my one space. That's just mine. So I cussed my mom out while hanging wallpaper in there.
Which you did so well.
It was, I want to say it was fun, but it wasn't fun. But that's my room. That's the one room that will be just mine that I did. So I worked on that all day yesterday. It was fun to be in there while the workers were actually in there working on the salon and seeing it come together. I walked in there this morning and they were like, it looks like a salon now. Like it's looking like it's coming together. So it's exciting.
Ugh. I'm so excited to see it.
But also while she was building out her salon and taking down the roof herself.
Are you going to tell them?
Oh my gosh. You tell me. You tell it way better.
So Chelsea came over and helped me. We had a drop ceiling when we bought the building. It's so bad. So we had a drop ceiling and it was horrible and I wanted to open it up. And so Chelsea volunteered like the best of friends she is and came and helped me remove all of the ceiling tiles and the ties. And while we were taking them out, oh God, it's so bad. No promise the space is clean, but I got hit in the face with a dead mouse.
Oh,
and
God.
it wasn't like there were no more mice. There was just one, and it was mummified. It was.
Yeah.
It had been gone a long time.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And we own the whole building, and there are no rodent issues.
Right.
Not the basement is spotless.
It was clearly a
a
rodent
rogue.
of the past.
It was a rogue mouse.
Oh my God.
It was Will in the past. It was like when you first bought the building. But my purpose behind these comments were not only was she building this out and doing a lot of grunt work herself in the very beginning, she was also renovating the apartment above. So it's just a lot. And I think that's a lot to take on, like mentally. And so on top of a pandemic, your sister moving out here and renovating her apartment as well as a salon and finding people to work and keeping your clientele and being shut down, not shut down, shut down, not shut down.
It's a
How
lot.
did you manage?
How do you do it?
What do you do? Yeah.
To be honest, I think that the last time I was on your guys' podcast, I wanted to open a salon.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
had seen that the building of my dreams was available,
That's right.
but
This
I did
was like
not
in
have
March or
it was
something.
in March. It was like the first month of closure.
Yeah.
And I had fallen in love with that space the minute I saw it, the day I moved here. And so I had been wanting to do it then. And I remember that I was talking about like, oh, my dream is someday to open up a salon, which is funny because in the past I've always said, no, absolutely not. I never want to own a business. I don't want that responsibility. Like I like my independence as a, freelance stylist. And I was talking about how I was trying to focus on not always going. And now I feel like the answer on how I'm not going crazy is that I'm always going.
Yeah.
And Lee knows it makes her crazy. I'm never not busy. I never have my phone, which is the opposite of how a business owner should be. But if you call me, I'm not answering. If you text me, I don't see it until that night. Like
You have to FaceTime her if you ever want to talk to her.
Yeah.
I will
But
say
even
you've
then-
made FaceTime a thing in our group.
I love
Really?
FaceTime, man.
So do I.
Yeah.
There's no other way. But I think through all of this and like keeping on track, it's just been putting my head down and going, okay, in the beginning of starting the salon process, I was still working at Crescent Haircraft. And so I had 5 days of really busy work there. And then I'd be off one day and I could go pick out paint or, buy a hair color, do whatever. Like I was just always trying to stay busy. And it's the only way I think that I won't go crazy in the process of trying to wait this out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a closing date yet?
So they told me second week of January. We're starting to take bets on how realistic that is.
Accurate.
I think it'll be I think it'll be like right in February because I mean you guys haven't seen it, but when we bought the space, it was, it looked like, oh my God, you could just move right in. You could just paint the walls. If you left the drop ceiling, it wouldn't be the end of the world. The floors are beautiful. The front windows were done. And I could have moved right in and just added the plumbing, but that was not the route we wanted to go at all. Like I wanted it to feel very, luxury without sounding terrible. I mean,
No, you just
No,
wanted
that's
it
not
to have
what
a
it-
really nice vibe.
yeah, like I wanted it to feel, and it was funny. We hired this company, Rockerbilt, in Louisville to do all the design work, and they've done really beautiful spaces out here. They did like Naive and Barvetti, and they're just so creative and so talented. And we hired them. And when I met their project manager, she was like, how do you want this to feel? Like, how do you want this space to feel? And I said, I want it to feel like the coolest person you've ever known let you come to their house. And so like the space, I really wanted it to feel super homey, but also not so inviting that people put their feet up on the couch.
Right.
I wanted to still feel a little bit intimidating, but also like you just like walk in there and you feel right at home.
You literally just described yourself.
That's your house, girl. We go there a lot.
But she was really good at like she caught that and made it happen. And I do think the downside to having that desire for the space was that this could have been done months ago. I mean, we could have bought stations from like a beauty distributor. We could have bought furniture from IKEA. Like I could have had it done and spent a few thousand versus
Minimal.
versus we're getting into some big numbers here, and it's scary, but also not, because I feel like every time I look at how much we've put into this, I know that all of that will come right back out. Like I have such deep sound faith in the idea.
Good.
Yeah.
Gosh.
It is very scary.
So we can speak on, ordering stuff and, picking out the right like chairs or shampoo bowls, whatever. What are things, maybe it doesn't have to be hair specific, but what are things that you spent a lot of money on that you are like, absolutely, I would never, ever not spend this money on something? Or is there anything that you prioritize too much that you were like, that wasn't really worth it?
Man, that's a really good question and a really hard answer. I mean, for starters, I don't even know if this is like the right arena to talk on, but I've been using the same hair color line and product line for 7 years, Davines, and I knew right away I really wanted to stick with them. And that was not like they're not a company that's like, sure, you can buy in. They're like, oh, if you don't carry the whole entire line, you're not one of us. And so they just make you deep dive financially right away. And so you sit on all this stock. I remember I opened the front door one day, and I'm not exaggerating. I had 8 feet high of boxes on my front porch. My front porch is huge.
Yeah.
It was the whole porch.
Goodness.
And Lee has seen my house. My back bedroom we got rid of a bed. We had to get rid of a bed in a fairly big size bedroom, and it is just boxes of color. And that was overwhelming because I went, oh my God, this is thousands and thousands of dollars that I'm sitting on. It's not liquid. It's not, liquid financially.
Yeah.
But
right.
I can't earn money on this right now. It doesn't benefit me right in this moment. 7 months down the line, it'll be great. So that was one of the things where, certainly I could have gone with another line that was reputable and was great, but it wouldn't have stayed true to who I am as a person and as a stylist and as a business owner. So that could have been somewhere I saved a lot of money, but I really believe in that.
Yeah.
And then, honestly, just the space itself, we went for this, wood clad chevron wall, and it is like, it's so beautiful, but it is such a expense.
You're like, it's a little pricey.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just, I don't even want it to sound like we're like spending $1 million on building the space out. But at the end of the day, because Brandon and I bought the building, I didn't want to just slap paint on the walls and throw stuff in the room, because I went, I'm going to be here for a long time. And if we're not, the next person coming in needs to love it too.
Mm-hmm.
And I want it to be done well. And it would be such a bummer if I opened up a salon and people were like, oh, cute.
That's cute. I
That's
guess.
nice.
Yeah. Like
That's really nice.
I've been, we bought the building in July, actually.
Yeah.
Right around my birthday. And I kept it on the down low for a few months. And then I told my salon owner that I was with prior in October or mid-September.
Yeah.
And I was terrified because I didn't want her to hate me.
Right.
Or think that and it's not. It's just everybody's fear. I think it's like when you tell somebody you're going to leave a job.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter if you sell groceries or if you're starting your own business.
Quitting is like...
Yeah. I think, and it's an even deeper, if you're not careful, fissure that you can create when you're going, hey, I'm opening up technically a competitive business.
Yeah.
But for me, I felt confident in the fact that I could go in and say, hey, I want to be transparent. I don't want to be a jerk doing this behind your back.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never lived in a small city, and Louisville is like, you can't go. Everyone knows someone. I know Lee. I know Shane. There's always somebody that goes, oh, you're friends with her. I've seen you on Instagram. It was my nightmare for her to find out, that one of her friends was building out her stylist salon and she had no idea. So I was really trying to be transparent with that. And I brought this up for a reason. I lost my train of thought.
We were talking about spending.
Spending money. Yeah. So stupid.
What were we talking about?
I got nervous. Talking about it again, like I was telling her for the first time. But no, I just wanted to be transparent and be cool about it. And so after I had told her, I felt a little more comfortable starting to tell clients. But again, when you're in someone else's salon space, I'm not going to be I'm not going to be shouting, look at my new beautiful salon I'm starting to work on. And also at the time it looked horrible.
Yeah.
Right.
It was just an empty shoebox that we had destroyed. I mean, it looked better before we got into it.
Yeah.
And so I've shown people as it's gone, the wood clad wall that, technically was an expense I didn't need to take on. And everyone is like, that is it. That's your money piece. That's your kind of like signature in the space. So, worth it already. And no one's even seen it in person.
Yeah. I'm so excited. I know.
It really adds like another level of just like, it elevates the space like crazy. So I feel that.
Yeah.
What's your plan? Because there's lots of hair salons. They're all different. But what's your plan in being like the top or separating yourself from other salons?
So I've talked to you guys about this in the past in private, but my old salon in LA, and Lee and I talked about this on the last podcast, was its own, I don't even know how to explain it. It was like its own culture. You walked in and it was like, there's North Hollywood and then there's the local.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you walked in and you were like, I swear to God, it was like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood on crack. It was like so fun.
Literally.
And everyone knew you. And if you weren't that person's client, they still knew your name and they knew, you knew theirs. It was the best. And so that made us, in my opinion, the best hair salon in LA.
Uh-huh.
And I got to watch that grow from, I started there when Rosie opened it a year prior. And so I saw it go from, this little BB to this big hair salon when I left. And I think through quarantine, Rosie and I have had some conversations, because we're all kind of just like in the trenches right now, especially as hairstylists. You're like, oh my God, it's never going to be the same again.
Yeah.
And it's a terrible time for me to take a huge leap of faith like this. But I've called Rosie and kept her in the loop, and she's given me advice on what I'm doing. And I asked her the other day, just kind of out of nowhere, I just called her and I said, does this feel worth it? Because she's still shut down. Like LA is still not going. And I think I really needed to hear her say yes. And she really needed to hear me ask that question, because I went, is it worth it? And she was like, what do you mean? And I said, doing this and being shut down and being stressed. Like, this is just like, it's got to be horrible having all of those people to be in charge of and rent and all these things. And she was like, sometimes I don't know, and it was like, oh shit, like that,
like, oh wow.
Yeah. And she goes, sometimes, it's stressful, but I can do it. And something in me just like, it was like getting broken up with and being like, no. Like, I was like, no, you can totally do this. You have to do it. And I said all the things I just said to you about, like, there isn't a place like the local. You can't give up. And not that she was going to, but I was just like, it was like finding out someone's moving away. You were like, no, please just don't, you've got to hold on because it's this. And I think having those feelings towards that space and really feeling like I was a big part of it, I want that here.
Yeah.
I want that not just for other people like clients, but also for me as a creative. I think that space was very much so collaborative, kind of like Warhol's factory. It was lots of artists in there creating something for like the greater good. Yeah. And a lot of hair salons don't have that anymore. It just isn't. It's competitive, and it shouldn't be competitive. You should never, I don't talk like Lee. Lee doesn't talk like Chelsea. And for some reason we're in this era where everybody wants to be kind of the same. And this isn't just hair salons. This isn't just hairstylists. It's like, go on Instagram.
Yep.
Yes.
Like any kind of
Yeah.
profession, personality, talent, whatever.
Yeah. Like all fitness influencers make freaking bands, and it's like, okay, well, what can you do that's different? Or if you're making bands and this other person's doing this, if you guys got together, do you not think that could be like explosive? Do you not think that could be amazing? And so I kind of want that in a hair salon space, which I think, will resonate to clients. Like that means a lot to somebody when they walk in somewhere and go, oh, this is a community. It's not a business.
Yeah.
It's a business.
I can say I've walked into salons where I just felt like it was really cold and it was just stylists on their own island. And then I've been into like Main Alley, for example. That's like everyone is exactly what you're talking about and like what you want. It's like, yes, hey, hi, how are you? They know you, they recognize you, whatever.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's so rare to find in a hair salon. And so I'm really excited for you to bring that here.
Yeah. And I mean, it's what you want everywhere. It's what you want.
It's true.
Because you know what it is? It's like walking into a group of girlfriends where, like Lee, you had a bachelorette party and you have all these friends who are from different parts of your life and whatever. And imagine being like the solo weirdo. Like if I had gone and I was like, hey,
you wouldn't have been the solo weirdo.
No, because I knew everybody kind of. But it's like being on your own island and walking in somewhere and having only two people be like, hey, how you doing? Are you okay? And then you have 6 others that are just going to kind of peek over their shoulder and give you some pleasantries, but not anything really that like warm and fuzzy.
Right.
As opposed to walking into a room where everybody's like, yes, you've made it. Like,
yeah.
you should feel like that in your groups of friends. Your hairstylist is usually going to feel like your friend.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you walk in somewhere and you're like, you know, the hot stylist in like designer clothes is like turns over, gives you once over, and is like back to their client, it does not feel good.
No.
And I have been to so many salons that feel like that. Like, that is not, it's not the vibe.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't like that vibe.
Mm-mm.
No, I agree.
Yeah. Well, I love that you are actually trying to create a culture, and I think that that is ungodly important. And I think that the fact that you want to bring other people who are equally as creative and have the same idea as you is also freaking awesome. What do you, I guess more so like, what are your plans, and I guess what is the vetting process of trying to bring in other people? Because this has to be a picky process.
Yeah, and
You
you just
know?
asked that and I started smiling. So like, this is my nightmare. I'm so nervous about that part. I really am. I used to joke with Rosie that we were going to start making like questionnaires of, you would have to make a top 10 playlist, and it couldn't be, you know, like songs that like move your soul. And then I was like, well, that's kind of like, what if they like country, you know, like, I just don't hire them. Like, I can't do that. That doesn't mean you suck. So I think the main thing is I don't want to rush into hiring people because I need money.
Yeah.
And that was something, you know, when I saw the building and I wanted it, you know, my fiance was obviously a huge part of looking at the numbers because he's in finance and going, can you do this? Is this realistic for you? Is this going to, you know, financially tank you and then take me down with the ship kind of thing? And we talked about how are we going to lay this out to see if it's feasible. And it was that I could technically work alone for a year and we'd be fine. That being said, obviously that's my nightmare. I want, again, like a creative space and people. So because of that, I can stand by what I've always thought, which is that I never want to hire somebody because I'm desperate for rent money. Like, that is just, it's like having like a homeless person who can pay you $100 move into your apartment. You know, it's like, you know, they're going to have people come in and squat and do whatever. And you're like, okay, cool. I have the $100, but now I'm miserable with this person living in here. So in a hair salon, like I've worked, you know, with people where I'm like, oh, this is my nightmare. And you can tell when something's off. I mean, we've had little blips we've had some employees at the local that, you know, you seem like you're great and you don't do a lot of deep diving into who they are as a person. And then they work there and you can tell for the 2 months that person works there, that the vibe is off. And it's off. And that's weird when you walk in somewhere that you're used to being this warm, fuzzy, you know, bed of friends. And then all of a sudden you go, oh, why is there a draft in here?
Yeah.
And so
that's such a good phrase. Why is there a draft?
But like with this space, I want to make sure that I love their work and I see something in their work that isn't, you know, all of us do the same work, really. I mean, is it good or is it bad is kind of an easy one to figure out when you know someone on on Instagram. I mean, you can find that out on your own. I'm going to creep their personal Instagram. Like, I want to make sure that their interests are things that lend themselves to conversations with a lot of people.
Yeah.
I will make sure that they're aligned with me as far as like what I think human rights are important. Like, it's my nightmare to work with somebody who thinks that like trans rights aren't important. Like, if that's not high up on your list of priorities, like, get out, go to Supercuts.
Supercuts.
But
not that Supercuts is
Supercuts
transphobic. We're just saying,
just
like,
go somewhere else.
just some other place.
I don't want to drop an independent salon in that situation. That would be mean.
Yeah.
But no, I think the main thing is do you want to hang out with this person? Would you be willing to go get a drink with them after work? And I don't want to be your best friend. And especially now going into being a business owner and being the boss, I can't, which is so weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
Cause I want to be everybody's friend.
Yeah.
But, I want to make sure that person aligns with me and the city.
Yeah.
As much as
well,
possible.
you're like making a family, like your work family.
Absolutely.
And so you don't want to have contention.
Yeah.
And it's like when you have one negative bang or something, it's like cancer and it just spreads.
It really is. And I've talked to people who've worked at salons where they had like one person come in and like poach and go, hey, I'm leaving. I'm going to go here. Do you want to come? To every stylist. And then everyone's looking over their shoulder going like, who did that? You know, who
Yeah.
said yes, who didn't, who's, you know, being horrible to the boss or whatever. It does. It becomes awful. So I feel like I'm nervous to say this out loud because it's like speaking it into existence, but I just keep thinking about I keep thinking about the first time I'll have to fire someone.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a huge fear of mine because in my life, I'm so like, boom. Like, if I want something, I'm going to say something. If I'm mad at you, I'm going to say it. But in a business situation, I'm not that way. Like, it'll take me a year to fire a client who needed to be fired 3 years ago. It just, it's hard for me. And I think in a situation where somebody's there doing their best, that's not going to happen. When you have people that work there and they're like here for the group and whatever, like you're not going to run into that issue, but you might, you know, it would be unrealistic of me to think I'm not going to get someone in there that's going to talk shit about other stylists or say things. I've heard somebody say terrible racist things behind the chair to a client because that client was a good audience for it. And we all had to turn our head. I mean, and that's not right. We've all had to turn our heads and be like, oh, you know, she is who she is, you know, because, and I feel like it's so important for me to be like, no, that's not, we're going to nip that in the bud. And
I think you've really stepped up this year from some of the stories you've told me, you know, and I say this year because I haven't known you very long. I mean, so to speak, but
we met the last time I was on this podcast.
That was our first meeting.
That was our first meeting.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd never met.
And I came in looking like some homely hoe.
No, you didn't, but you know how I decided I liked you?
Tell me.
Is that you dropped a piece of food on the floor in Lee's kitchen, and Lee had just had the housekeepers there, and you said, Lee, I trust you so much because this house is so clean that I'm just going to eat this. And I was like, she's my people.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But I'm like, oh. But you've stopped somebody speaking. You're like, no, it's not okay.
Oh yeah, I fired somebody.
And I think that's huge. Is just to be like, you know, we for so long turned the other cheek when it was like, oh, that's just how she is. But now it's like, that's not how it is anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's really admirable of you. And I think that, like, I have actually, like, seen you put that into practice, so I know that's going to be something that you definitely stick to. It's not just like you're just saying it to say it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, to the source of the question of, like, is it going to be, like, hiring people, and what's that going to be like? I don't need to align with you on all things.
Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
not, if it was like that, it would be the most boring salon of all time. We're all supposed to be different. There's magic to be had in, like, a sprinkling of different kinds of people.
Correct.
But, you know, I think fundamental, like, deep things that really matter to me have to matter to other people. But politically, do you need to align with me in the future? I don't care. Right now? No. Yeah, you gotta agree with me.
Right now, today.
Yeah, you
on
gotta
this
agree.
very day.
But in general, like, I want people to challenge me. I want people to be different because every client is not meant for me. They're meant for, you know, the next person that comes in. And I want to help people grow. I think one of the big things I've thought about with hiring is I want to hire young stylists. Not necessarily like age young, but people that are just starting. Because I just remember like the magic of getting hired at my first salon and how, oh my God, it was like a religious experience. It was like an awakening. Yeah. They grew me. I mean, I got to bring in like fresh ideas to them because they weren't thinking the way I was because I had gone to school so recently and they imparted so much wisdom and skill onto me that was so magical. And I look at young stylists now and I'm like, man, you're so cool. You're so cool. And I'm getting like, I want to harness someone's talent like that. I want somebody to Rosie, you know, like how Rosie pushed me and made me better and wanted to build me up. I want to do that for somebody because it is like the best feeling I would imagine being the person encouraging.
Absolutely. Well, and you've mentioned too that I think that's awesome because you've mentioned that you also want your salon to have a lot of educational aspects to it. And it's not just like a, hey, show up, here's some new things that we're selling. Have fun, like do something on your own. Like a very collaborative, like constantly learning about, you know, different techniques and different products and different product lines. So I think that really, that aligns with what you're doing, which I appreciate that you're like walking the walk, talking the talk, you know?
Trying.
I love the idea of, like, not being intimidated by new people. I think that's something, for the longest time, that was me, and I'd put up a wall, and it was like, whatever, but it's like so refreshing, and when you lower that wall and let people in that have a different opinion or a different view or a different skill that can help you, it's just like you just open so many doors for yourself.
100%.
And it makes it so much less of a toxic environment. I mean, it's a hurdle that I personally had to overcome because I don't really know why. Idiot. But I did. But, like, just that in itself, and being, like, the business owner, and, you know, be like, I want to learn from you, and not be like, oh, this is how we do things here, so.
Well, you're just never, like, you can never be better than somebody that just learned something, in a way. You know,
Yeah.
obviously, like, you've honed those skills, but there's magic to be, like, had when you're completely oblivious going into something new because you're fresh eyes. Like, how are you supposed to be better than that person who's all excited to learn and willing to go the extra mile that now that you've honed your skill, started cutting corners? Like, it's definitely a reminder of how things are supposed to be done. I mean, even like balayage. I remember coming into my new salon, and balayage was just, I mean, obviously it's an old skill, but it was just kind of coming to be. And they didn't teach you balayage in school, like, at all. Yeah. And I totally lied when I started at the local and said I'd been doing hair longer than I had. Like, bold face lied. And
Sorry.
And I had been doing balayage on my own at home, which was why I fibbed. I'd been doing hair at home the entire time I was in school. So those 2 years, I wasn't just in school. I was actively doing hair at like 3 or 4 clients a day. And when I was at cocktails to meet the girls of the salon, one of the stylists was like, oh God, I did balayage today. And it was just like the worst thing. Like, it was already bad. And then the client went in the bathroom and touched their head, and like, it was everywhere, which is like truly a nightmare just to think about it. Now it gives me the sweats.
Oh God.
Yeah. But she was like, it was just like a shit show. And I was sitting there thinking, like, I can teach them balayage. Like, I got this because I've been doing it and taking all these classes. And like, here's these stylists who've been doing it for 10 years or doing hair for 10 years. And balayage is just coming in. Like, it wasn't there when they started doing hair because it had already been passé. And then they came in the foil generation. Foil generation skipped my ass. Like, I had to relearn foils. I've taken so many classes in the last like 3 years because I was hand painting everybody. You'd come in with like black hair and I'd be like, balayage, and it'd be burnt orange, you know, because like it doesn't go that far. Yeah. And I had to take a seat and learn from the older stylists, you know. The only way to do this is foil, period.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of like balance of you need them, they need you. That'll be cool.
I love that. That's like a life lesson for real.
Yeah, it's not just hair.
Yeah.
Well, because, I mean, think about this. Think about all the parents right now who are having to relearn all this stuff that, like, you know, you learned in elementary school. And all of a sudden your second grader is, like, so much smarter than you.
Yeah.
Because they're just learning everything on a blank slate. And you have other things that you just feel like you've been doing X, Y, and Z, and they're like, no, it's A, B squared, girl.
For that.
I literally was just going to say that. Like, I'm kind of envious, but also like, what a learning curve.
Well, now they do it like weird.
My clients whose parents are teaching, or my clients who are teaching their kids school right now, because I'm like that, my kid would fail. They'd fail.
They'd be dumb.
Yeah. Because
my kid, I'm not going to.
No, my kid would be dumb because I'm not. Like, I hated school. I was creative. I was not books. Like, well, it's not true. I didn't apply myself. But Common Core math? Like, hell no.
No.
Hell no. I watched a TED Talk. Me, with no children, I watched a TED Talk on Common Core math because I wanted to understand it. And I was like, this is stupid.
It's stupid
because regular math is fine. It's been fine. All I can do is addition and subtraction and make a percentage. That is my skill set is done there.
Yeah.
And
there you go.
If you asked me to do Common Core addition, I'd be like, well, that's canceled. I don't know how to do that.
I don't know how to add those numbers.
I don't speak that.
But how cool that these kids are just like, duh, 374 divided by 5 is this because of this. I would look at them and be like, I'm an idiot and you're a genius and you should be the president of the United States. Like, this is insane.
Because of Common Core math.
Yeah, like, look at these cool kids.
I'm telling you.
That makes me laugh. Kind of getting back to like a culture that you want to create. I know earlier you were talking about how important it was for you to use local businesses here in Louisville. Kind of talk about why you want to, I mean, obviously it's very obvious why you want to support local businesses, but why that's important to you. And if you want to like shout out any awesome ones that you use, please feel free.
Oh, I would so love to do that. Obviously, like, we all had this crazy shutdown in March, and
so much fun.
Everyone is
a blast.
Humbling experience. Everyone hurt. Everyone that wasn't Amazon, that wasn't, Nordstrom or Target was hurt. And I think, like, me personally, you guys know this, like, I was like hustling face masks to try to like get by, and all of these businesses.
And you were making them like 12 hours a day, girl. Like, hustle is an understatement.
Yeah, I was
You're
dying.
Killing it.
I like hurt my back. It was the worst. But it made me so much more aware of the fact that, like, I had a fiance who was, probably not happy, but I'm going to say he was happy to do it, to help support me. I mean, I had somebody to lean on, and I had this tiny bit of income I could still make for myself, but there was a lot of hairdressers who had kids pushed out of school, boutiques that don't have the online presence, and all. It's hard to set up e-commerce. Yeah. So think about all these small businesses that just were like, it's not worth it. I can't afford to hire somebody to do this because I'm not selling. I'll set up this website and then still not really sell much to pay it off. So it made me really aware of when I went and bought something to go close by to whatever was open and I could do. And then Christmas rolled around and I made myself even more, I didn't buy anything on Amazon this year. Not a single thing came from anywhere that wasn't local. I mean, even I wanted to go to Barnes & Noble for something, and I was like, no, because I can go to Carmichael's.
Hey.
Yeah. And so when it came time to build the salon and knowing that that was going to be a huge financial undertaking, I was like, why would I not spread this wealth within our community? Why would I, so Minerva is this company that makes like salon chairs, and they sell front desks and stations and everything. And I could have done stuff from them, and they have some stuff that's really cute, but A, everybody else has that, and that's lame. I don't want anything anyone else has. And B, it's just some giant company in Atlanta. Like, I don't want to support them. I want to support something close by. So I started kind of poking around and asking people if they knew any Woodwrights. I decided I wanted to do like wood stations with concrete countertops.
So pretty.
It would have been, but but like I started like kind of reaching out to concrete people and woodworkers, and it felt so chaotic. And so finally I was like, I need to find a fabrication company and someone that does design and whatever. And my friend Whitney, who is also starting her own business.
Hey. She'll be next on the pod.
Yeah, she better be. Whitney's fiance had a friend who worked for this company, Rockerbuilt. And it was funny because I'd been clocking the things they had built around the city without knowing it for months. And I went there legit during lockdown and met them. And I was like, man, these people are cool. Like, I want to be their friend, and I also want them to build my salon. Like, everything they do is so artistic. Like, everything they did for the salon was, no one else will have that. They didn't look at, okay, here's the salon station, we'll just rebuild that. They were like, here's a salon station, but here's like a sculpture of this, and we're going to anodize steel and put it in there. And like, it's just so unique and cool.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And so they were my first hire for the salon. And then, just getting down into signage, I wanted to do signage that was a local company, and it was really, really hard to find someone that could do the weeding out of my signage. And I ended up hiring a company that's local and independent. That was another thing. Not just like a chain, nothing, like independent, family owned. I hired a company called Stoneworks Design, and they do monuments. Like, they do gravestones.
Which is so on brand with you. It is ungodly. Yeah. Like, match made in heaven.
Yeah. So I did that, and like my logo, this is like my favorite because it's kind of like romantic in a way. Oh. Not like lovey romantic, but just cool.
Yeah.
The building that we bought, when I saw it the first time and fell in love with it, it was a letterpress company called Hound Dog Press. And I reached out to them, and the owner, Nick, I was like, do you do logos? And he was like, no. And I was like, but please. And I explained to him, I was like, I'm in your old space. I fell in love with it because you were there, and and he was like, yeah, come on in. And so he designed my logo. So it's cool because it's a callback to the space previous, and he did all my, like my paper goods he's doing. And so and he's even said this to me. He's like, if you need to do some printing elsewhere, you know, I'll understand. Because it's not cheap. It's literally like 5 times the cost. Yeah. And I hate it. I hate it. I really do. But I'm also like, keep your eye on the prize of like, he'll remember that I did that for him. Yep. And he'll send me somebody. If somebody ever says I need a hair salon, like he'll think of me. And same for Rockerbilt. Like if I ever need something else, like I can call Rockerbilt to do it. And every like wallpaper. That wallpaper in the bathroom isn't local. But I could have bought wallpaper that was really cute at Target or on Amazon, but I bought it from some artist in Poland. And it's like, it's so stupid. And sometimes I'm sure Brandon looks at me and is like, I hate you for being this way. But it's important. Like I want somebody to choose me over a huge Aveda salon because I want them to go,
that wallpaper was from Poland.
No, not at all. I just mean like me as a stylist, like, I've said this to people before, and the analogy applies to everything. You can get toilet paper for $15. You can get toilet paper for $30, but there's going to be a difference in quality, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
But other things you can get the exact same thing, and sometimes you pay for the experience. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's all you're paying for. That's different. So you can get a great head of hair somewhere that costs a quarter of what I charge, but you don't get me.
Yeah.
You know, and I tried to really like keep that in my head while I was purchasing things or like working with companies for the salon is like, I could have worked with Minerva and gotten all this stuff for, I'm not exaggerating, a fifth of what I've paid Rockerbilt. That being said, like I talk to my project manager like every day, and she's really cool. When I say like, I have this idea, she's like, let's see what the guys come up with. I mean, we're getting married, at their new facility, like their new building facility that they have. It used to be an art gallery. And there's just little things where like an arbor, you know, you get married in front of. I was like, I don't know what we want for an arbor. It can be simple. And our wedding planner is the owner of the company who's building out the salon's girlfriend. And she was like, let me just talk to Brad. And she texted me later on, and he's who's building everything. And she was like, yeah, Brad's got an idea. Here you go. And it's like, that's kind of cool. Like now this is like a deeper relationship than just you're building stations for my salon.
That's amazing. And that kind of stuff too will only elevate your reputation as a salon, and it will become a place where if there's, you know, people that move here, like stylists that move here that are like huge and like they need a good space, they will be attracted to working for you. Like that does nothing but attract talent and good people to you if you keep that consistent. And like the fact that you've thought so hard about literally like where, you know, who's painting, where your wood comes from, where you're, you know what I mean? All this stuff, it just brings a good energy to where like you're just like, you're setting yourself up to be successful.
Yeah. I just want to really like, it almost to me sometimes when I think about it, I'm like, does that sound like I'm kissing ass? But it's not. You know, I almost just want it to be that, like, I feel like I'm, like, the queen of references. Anytime someone's like, I need this, I'm like, I have a person, I have a website, I have this, like, process is, if somebody walked in and looked at that chevron wall, because it's magical. Like, it really is so magical.
It is beautiful.
If someone walked in and saw that and was like, oh, I would love something like that. How cool is it that now I've become friendly enough with these like this company Rockerbilt, like the wedding planner's Brad's girlfriend, and I know Brad now, and the guys that are painting the wall, like I know these people.
Yeah.
Like how cool is it for me to go, hey, I can refer you to my friends. You know, like I can support my friends' financial well-being, and you'll get something really cool. You've seen how great it looks on our walls, and then like I said, vice versa. They'll always know that if somebody needs something, they can come to me because I've been working with them. Like it's such a, like, I don't know the right word, but like the community, like you want to keep that like bubble small.
Yeah.
You know, especially in a place like this.
Yeah.
You know, I think in LA it would have been important. Like, I still would have wanted to go this route. I could never have afforded to go this route in LA, but
yeah,
you know, I think here it's more important than it would have been there because of how small Louisville really is. Yeah. I mean, it's a big city. It's a lot of people, but it's...
You can make a name for yourself.
Everyone knows everybody here. Yeah. Wonderful.
Love that.
Well, at the end, because we haven't had a guest in forever, you get to do yoga time.
What's yoga
Girl, time? It's... All right, you might have forgotten. So at the end of every episode that we have a guest, we give you a little 2 to 3 minute yoga time where you get to do whatever pose you want, like at the end of yoga class. And you can literally talk for 2 to 3 minutes about any subject you want to talk about, whether it's something that we didn't ask you about the salon, something that you're really passionate about, a show you're watching on Netflix, a book you're reading.
Ooh,
anything.
I've got my thing.
All right. Yay. Go.
Okay. Feels like I can hear it. Like, in my head, I'm making up like a ticking noise. Okay. So for Christmas, I got a Kindle.
Ooh.
Because I've been reading a lot on my phone. And you can thank Brandon for me never having my phone anymore and me like completely abandoning ship with all my friends. Because I was so, you know, coming back from pandemic and like back into the salon, it was from 0 to 60, but like barefoot in a Flintstones car. It was like the worst.
Yeah.
Like shot back into reality, and I was so stressed out every day, and I felt like I was constantly on my phone trying to like accommodate clients and do whatever. And like Lee, you've told me this, and it's like your thing is that you're always anxious because your phone has constantly got something that needs to be attended to right that second.
Yes,
like it's your downfall.
I can't not touch a notification. If a notification pops up, I got to do it, and I have way too many.
And Lee,
so that's me,
extends herself beyond what's even necessary. I mean, you just take on everything. And I do the same thing, but mine are more things that I'm choosing to do and I'm accountable to me and me only. And that's enough for me. I'm good. But you're accountable to a lot of other people.
Yeah, because I'm a puss, Kayleigh.
No. You're just really accommodating. But it makes you feel like shit. It makes you feel so stressed out. And like we have that in common. And so I was like, I'm so tired of my phone. I'm tired of accommodating clients. I'm tired. Well, I love doing that, but you know, not at 8 p.m. on a Thursday.
Right. Yeah.
So I started reading. I was like, I'm going to turn off my notifications on the phone and I'm going to start reading. So I was reading books all the time, but I was reading them so fast. I was spending like hundreds of dollars on books.
Oh my gosh.
And so Brandon surprised me with a Kindle for Christmas. And it's the best. Guys, start reading. Like, I don't care if you're reading like books on like philosophy or if you're reading total smut. Like, it is such a nice escape from your phone and from the people around you. Like, it's been the best gift I've been given this year. For real. And not this year. I mean, like, even in 2020. Like,
that's wonderful.
Yeah. So, shut off a little bit. It's something I really needed, and
we
I didn't know.
We are not sponsored by Kindle, but we approve of them. That's awesome. Yeah. I bought 7 books this year, and I am on page 40 on all of them.
How are you reading more than one book at a time?
I don't mean to. I just read 40 pages and then I'm like, oh, I meant to buy this book and I forgot that I started the other one, and then I start reading it and I have ADHD is what I think it is. So I have about 7 books I need to finish, but I've started all 7 of them. So far, they're all great.
Hide them under your bed and finish one at a time.
I know I need to do that. I need to just sit one by my bedside and literally put the rest in a drawer.
Do you know what I decided I'm cool with?
Tell me.
What?
This doesn't apply to like anything else in my life, but
okay.
I'm totally fine starting a book and being like, this is garbage and not finishing it.
Yeah.
Like, I have started a few books where I'm like, what the hell am I reading? Like, this is the worst thing. And like one like common theme in a lot of books I'm reading right now is like, they're doing their best to include characters that have been not been included for a long time. Like, there's more Black characters. There's a lot of disability, you know, like characters with disabilities or whatever. And one of the ones I was reading recently was about a girl who was obese. And she was like, I'm not plus size, like I'm obese, blah, blah, blah. But it took over the storyline in a way that wasn't like, it wasn't self-deprecating. It was like so almost fat shaming, where I was like, I need to Google what this author looks like, because there's no way this is a like self-proclaimed like fat girl, like in the book.
Right.
Like I was like, there's no way this was written by somebody who looks like Lee. And sure as shit, The author was like 120 pounds, like soaking wet, carrying a backpack of bricks. And I was like, you're horrid.
And you're like, this is why I hate your stupid book.
Yeah, your book, I was like, you're focused on this so much, it's so bizarre. And then I saw what she looked like, and I was like, this book is garbage. And I put it down, and it, like, normally would have rocked my soul to do that. Like, I wouldn't have been able to. And I decided after that, man, that opened up like a floodgate. Now I'm just like, you're canceled.
Heck
you're
done. Good for you.
So 40 pages might be enough for some of those.
No, but they're all really good. I just like, I'll get tired and then I forget that I started it. Because my brain can't handle more than like one thing at a time. So, anyways. Those are my flaws. And that is the end of our episode. Well, Kayleigh, thanks so much for coming on today.
Thanks for letting me come.
Please, everyone, follow Poppy and Rod Hair Parlor. Is that your Instagram handle?
Poppy like the flower, Rod like goldenrod.
Yeah, you need to say why you picked your name. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Hit us with that real quick.
Final note.
Yeah.
I'm from California, and I moved here, and they both feel very much like home. This does not feel like I'm visiting, so I chose the state flower of both California and Kentucky. So it's Poppy and Rod, and Hair Parlor like the English way. So OUR.
Parlour. Going to the parlor.
Why did we all say it like that?
Because
that's totally not how it said.
It's all three of us. Dang it.
All right, guys. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Yeah, follow her. Get your hair booked. Do the things. Visit the salon. Tell your friends.
Yeah, share her stuff. She has some really beautiful content on Instagram. Please go share it and just tell people you're excited about it. Even if you don't know her, just say you're excited. We'll be happy.
And she's been featured in Lee's monthly main box. So
yeah, which has been lovely. Which has been getting
great prod.
Yeah.
Product.
Yeah.
Don't know why
Great
I shortened
prod.
that.
I was like, what? Great prod.
It's fine.
Anyways, thanks for listening, guys. Make sure to rate, review, subscribe, tell your friends, tell anyone you want to know about this podcast about us. And we hope you have a great week. And we will all get through this as a country. And we will talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.